Hello everyone, Juxtaposition here. Today's video will be entitled BlackRock versus Blackstone ? The reason that I put a question mark on there, it's like putting mustard on a hot dog, is because a lot of people are unaware that there are two different private equity hedge funds. One is called BlackRock, which is operated by Larry Ratfink, a Jew from Los Angeles. Larry Fink, F-I-N-K, went to UCLA. Larry Ratfink, he manages BlackRock. Now, if you don't know, that's code for Bank of America, okay? Bank of America owns Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch owns BlackRock. BlackRock got its name from the Black Rock, or Banker's Heart, as we called it, at 555 California Street, San Francisco, world headquarters for Bank of America, which was the Bank of Italy merged into the Bank of America in Los Angeles to become the A.P. Giannini Bank of America, largest retail bank on the planet Earth. And they had a black rock made of Swedish marble laid on top of carnelian granite at the corner of Kearny Street and California Street, the northwest corner, 555 triple nickel, 555 California Street, 2 buildings away from the Merchants Exchange Club, known as the Merchants Exchange Building, 13 stories tall at 465 California Street, a triple nickel, 555, because you do know, if you've been following your gematria and numerology, that a 465 adds up to 15, and 15 is 3 5s, triple nickel. You should also know that diametrically across from the Black Rock at Kearny and California Street, on the opposite corner of Kearny and California Street, you have a building that houses Donaldson, Lufgren, and Jenrette, who are bond traders and securities brokers. They're involved with Credit Suisse First Boston, which they merged with. Credit Suisse First Boston then took over the ashes of Lehman Brothers, which is a 100% Jewish brokerage company in Manhattan, New York, with offices throughout the world. And they took over Bear Stearns, another 100% Jewish brokerage company in New York. I believe it was the oldest Jewish company in New York in the finance business was Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers. Those two, I think Lehman Brothers might be the oldest Jewish finance company in New York, and maybe Bear Stearns is second or third. But anyway, Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and Donaldson, Lufgren, and Jenrette all merged together with Credit Suisse in Switzerland. Get it? So they then formed Blackstone. Blackstone is located at 345 Park Avenue, Manhattan, New York. If you don't know, 3 plus 4 plus 5 adds up to 12. 12 is a double 6, or a 3333. Right? Everybody knows that because you've been watching my channels and you know the meaning of 33 and you know the meaning of 3333, right? Everybody knows that because you've been watching my channels. 3 by itself means strength, stability, and balance. A 33 means unity, strength, and enlightenment. And a 3333 is a 3 plus 9. It stands for spiritual guidance. So what I'm telling you is Blackstone is providing spiritual guidance in the form of purchasing real estate in the United States to keep the prices preposterously high. That's office buildings, commercial buildings, land, and residential housing. So if you're upset about the high prices of real estate in a world of AI where everyone's going to be laid off from their job and not be able to qualify to borrow money to buy a home, just place that at the doormat at 345 Park Avenue, Manhattan, in front of Blackstone, not to be confused with BlackRock. That's a different Jewish operation. These are both Jewish managed, Jewish founded Swiss banks. But bear in mind, people, these are Swiss banking authorities, and that includes Bank of America. They're a Swiss bank, okay? They're an agent of Switzerland. All right, so in the case of Blackstone, which is very involved in pumping up the real estate prices for commercial and residential real estate in the fake colony of the United States, 12 Hunger Game banking districts, you've got Stephen Schwartzman, you've got Peter Peterson, you've got Jonathan Gray, you've got David Blitzer. And those are your executives at Blackstone at 345 Park Avenue, Manhattan, New York. Over at the BlackRock in Manhattan, New York, they're at 50 Hudson Yards, which I believe is named after the shipyards on the Hudson River. Anyway, so that's the west end of Manhattan. Larry Fink and Robert Capito and Susan Wagner were the fake founders of Blackstone, which is really Bank of America under the guise of Merrill Lynch, located at 50 Hudson Yards. And of course, 50 is a Masonic number. 5 is, certainly. I already told you the Bank of America's marquee address is triple nickel 555, right? California Street. In case you didn't know, 555 means change, growth, and transformation. So I think we're in a reset, right? You know that a pentagram 5-pointed star is a 5. And on the Mormon LDS Church, you flip the 5-pointed star upside down and you have devil worship, or what the Mormons call, what the LDS Church calls temple worship. And if you look at their temples, their Mormon temples, they'll have inverted 5-pointed stars. Just like Bank of America has a black rock and a black stone and a banker's heart, the Mormon Church has the same symbol. So, you know, signs and symbols rule our world. That would be Swiss bank authority, number 1. Freemasonry, number 2. That would be black rock, black stone. They're all involved with nanotechnology, 5G, augmentation of human brains. Today is a massive chemtrail day. I've been out numerous times for short walks. I've seen people jogging and running in this vastly polluted sky. It's just extraordinary. I point to the sky, I point to the planes, I point to the active chemtrail attacks, and everybody looks up and no one says a friggin' word. They're completely augmented. They're the zombies. My neighborhood is full of a zombie apocalypse, and I stand out as like at the movie Them, where I have the special sunglasses where I can see who the zombies are. It's my neighborhood. Well, anyway, I just want to clarify, people, in today's video that there is a hedge fund private equity company called Blackstone on Park Avenue in New York with a Masonic address, and there is another Jewish hedge fund private equity controlled by Bank of America, who's controlled by Switzerland, at 50 Hudson Yards in West Manhattan. I don't think the distance between Blackstone and BlackRock is that far. It's probably under 3 miles. That's a Masonic number, right? 3? Anyway, you could Google those addresses, 345 Park Avenue and 50 Hudson Yards, and you tell me what the distance is. It's not far. Certainly you could ride a bicycle from one place to the other. And you should know that the Jewish private banker Thomas H. Lee was murdered at age 78 in his Masonic address, which is 767. And on the 16th floor, that's a 88, which is a 2222, or it's a 4444. Anyway, he was murdered a year ago, about 1 year ago. And he is a Jewish private banker who was retired from duty. Thomas Lee. Check it out. Look it up. I did a video on him. All right. So what I want to tell you briefly is that you're living in a clown show, okay? There seems to be another confusion out there that the chief executive officers or chairmen of the board of our College of Corporations, you know, the 500, Fortune 500 companies, that these are exceptionally intelligent, daring, and brave men. And nothing could be further from the truth. They're imbeciles and morons, and they make no decisions. The AI is in charge. The AI decides diversity, inclusion, and equity, which spells D-I-E, which is die. I know they flipped the letters around where it's D-E-I, diversity, equality, and inclusion, right? But I believe the word really means meta in Hebrew, which is dead. And that's what die is. Die means dead. And die means diversity, inclusion, and equity. And that's why you have these Jewish Swiss banks, they're Swiss banks, operating as Blackstone, BlackRock, Kleiner Perkins, Sequoia Capital, KKR Excel on Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley next to Stanford University. They are operated out of Geneva, Switzerland, and Basel, Bank for International Settlements. They are not independently run. Okay, let's look at some of the most successful clueless buffoons in history. Steve Jobs, the so-called founder, along with Steve Wozniak in Steve Wozniak's parents' garage in Los Altos. Steve Jobs, a person who never really attended college much at all. He went to Lewis and Clark University in Portland, Oregon. He audited the classes, never received a grade, never got a pass-fail, just dropped out. And then he went to a community college in Campbell and got a job at Atari, where he worked on children's video games, and then he becomes a huge multiple billionaire success with Apple Computers that was created by Jewish Kleiner Perkins and Sequoia Capital. Then we have Larry Ellison, who is the fake founder of Oracle. He didn't found Oracle. The CIA founded Oracle by contracting Ampex Corporation to create a database collection system, which the CIA named Oracle. Larry Ellison was tapped on the shoulder as an Ampex employee to go open up an office across the street in Redwood City to sell the product that the CIA created through Ampex. Anyway, Larry Ellison was a dropout from University of Illinois, Urbana. So he's a college dropout. Bill Gates went to Harvard and dropped out. And he became the fake founder of Microsoft, which was really IBM. I've been moved. IBM software became Microsoft DOS operating system, today known as Windows. And you have Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer was his roommate at Harvard. Steve Ballmer did graduate from Harvard, but he's a clueless buffoon who owns an NBA pacification and control team known as the LA Clippers. Then we have Dick Cheney. He is a Yale dropout. He dropped out of Yale. He did graduate from college eventually, University of Wisconsin, I believe, Madison. Anyway, Mark Zuckerberg went to Harvard and he dropped out. And he is the fake founder of Facebook, which perhaps was designed by somebody else, right? Social surveillance systems is Meta Facebook. Then we have Jeffrey Jorgensen of Princeton. He did graduate, but his name is Jorgensen, but you know him as Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos, his name is Jorgensen. We have Mitt Romney. He is an LDS Mormon who owns porn companies through Bain Capital. Mitt Romney is a clueless buffoon, and if you don't believe me, watch his interviews on television. He's an idiot, and he represents the LDS Moron Church. It is the Moron Church. It's not the Mormon Church. It's the Moron. It's the church of augmented people in a military cult, in a military Masonic cult, because you do know that the 5 apostles of the LDS Church were all Freemasons. In other words, they're all controlled by Swiss bankers. All right, and then we have Oliver Silverstein Stone, who is a double dropout from Yale University. So Dick Cheney has tremendous amounts in common with Oliver Silverstein Stone. Even though they'll pretend to not like each other, the fact is they both are on the same militarized program. Donald Trump, another clueless buffoon used car salesperson who probably couldn't sell free money. I mean, I wouldn't buy free money from Donald Trump. Anyway, he went to Fordham University, which is a Jesuit crypto-Jewish school, but then he transferred to University of Pennsylvania because I guess he heard Noam Chomsky was over there. So Noam Chomsky got all of his degrees out of a box of Cracker Jacks at University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. That's where Donald Trump has a bachelor's degree and then an MBA from the Wharton Business School. And you should know that Noam Chomsky and Donald Trump have much more in common than they have dissimilar. Then we have Samuel Bankman French Fried. He graduated from MIT at a time when Noam Chomsky was teaching applied linguistics there at MIT, a military research university. Noam Chomsky, the voice of Poppycock and Balderdash, the fake historian. Then we have Victor Davis Hanson, the fake military historian from the Hoover Institute, who has a PhD from Stanford University. He is a clown. He is a crisis clown concealment artist. Timothy Leary, tune in, turn on, drop out, has a PhD in psychology from University of California, Berkeley. Just like Eric Emerson Schmidt, the CEO of Google, does. Well, his degree is not in psychology, but he went to UC Irvine, UCLA, and UC Berkeley. And now he was the CEO of Novell, which owned WordPerfect, which is the CIA military intelligence looking glass and keyhole programs. And now he's in charge of Google Maps at Google. He was the chairman of Alphabet Soup for Google, which is Google Ventures and all the 23andMe, YouTube, and dozens of pharmacology and nanotechnology meta-augmented companies. So you should know that Eric Emerson Schmidt is in the cult. He lives below the Sharon Tate murder scene for a reason. He's within 900 meters of Abigail Folger's murder, and he's there because he is part of a cult ritual where he is required to be living in a kill box. And he does. He lives in a 6-acre kill box adjacent to the Walt Disney Mansion, which has been torn down and rebuilt as a different kill box. Anyway, what I'm telling you is Blackstone, BlackRock, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Credit Suisse, Donaldson, Lufgren and Jenrette, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, Mitt Romney, Bain Capital, they're all part of a Jewish Swiss banking clown show. And the people you see on television are the biggest clowns of all. Elon Musk, Jeffrey Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Mitt Romney, Steve Ballmer, Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, who's been hiding away all during COVID at Lanai while they destroyed Lahaina, a paddleboard away from Larry Ellison of the dropping out of the University of Illinois education program, Oliver Silverstein Stone, Steve Jobs of Apple, who was unavailable for interviews because he's dead. These people are all clowns in the circus. You should ignore them all. The only thing is that Eric Emerson Schmidt is a dangerous person. He's actively involved with military operations operating out of Moffett Air Base, NATO, and Mountain View, and Stanford University militarized fortress of a campus. It's a fortress, it's not really a school. You don't go to Stanford to get educated. You go to Stanford to be indoctrinated into military service for NATO, for Swiss Banking Authority. That's my point. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.